Okay, so we have another recording of a battle that was done. So in the custom battles, you can set a set amount of funds for each army to compose their armies with, based on the unit values, kind of like this. So we have, let's get rid of this here. So you can see this gold in the top, and then each of these guys have a value that expands as we go. However, during the campaigns, you can get whatever armies you want based on the amount of, basically based on the strength of your economy, the buildings that you create, and just what your economy and infrastructure can handle. So the next replay I'm going to show is um, one of those. So this replay is our three Skaven armies attacking one of the Empire cities. Now, Boris Todbringer is an Empire general, a pretty famous one, but he's actually come across the Widowmaker, which is an insanely powerful sword in the Warhammer universe, and in this game. And any general that can acquire it um, is able to get massive amounts of power, strength, and a wicked magic spell, at the expense of deteriorating the public order in their faction, because people are freaking out about this. So this battle might be a little laggy just because there are three armies of mine attacking them. So the battle kind of already started. If we look down here, we have Ikit Claw's army with Tretch Craventail coming into support. Let's see if I can tweak this a little better for a little better performance. Turbo, all right. So we have some Hell Pit Abominations. We have our main man, Ikit Claw, hiding in his little doom wheel. Makes for fast mobility. We have a bunch of siege equipment, Plague Clock catapults, and Ikit's Zap Zap, as well as regular Warp Lightning cannons. We have Warp Lock Jezzails, which are snipers. We have another unit of Warp Lock Jezzails, the Netty Bulos sharpshooters, which is a special version of them. As you can see, they're trying to pick off some guys on the wall there. We have some Storm Vermin in the siege towers. We have other Storm Vermin waiting to attack. And if we continue, we can see Tretch Craventail, who is a... Wait, no, that's not him. Here he is. Tretch Craventail is another legendary lord who pretty much rose to power through sheer luck. He took over the clan when he accidentally caused a stalagmite to fall on top of the current clan leader. So he kind of took over from there, and he's joined by an Eshin sorcerer who has some pretty good magic that can help buff our units or also just cause direct damage to the enemy. So we can see that they're firing at us with a couple of mortars from outside the city, but we are firing back at these cannon towers because we don't want them doing any more damage to our units than we would like. So if we pause over here, we can see one of my favorite guys coming into battle. Another legendary lord. He's kind of in the ranks of his Storm Vermin right now, but this guy in red here, Queek Headtaker, he has the skull and spine of a other rival warlord on his back. Human skull, dwarf head, pretty much trophies he collects, and he is the main menace of the dwarves. But I love this guy. Unfortunately, his faction doesn't play very cool, so I like playing as Ikit's faction because he has these crazy armories and insane laboratories. But if you confederate with Clan Moors, then you get access to Queek. So that's what I did. And then let's have some of this going on while you see Boris Todbringer back here on his Imperial Griffin. And as you can see by this disgusting red aura, he has the Widowmaker, which is imbuing him with magic power. These Empire guys have a steam tank. These guys, again, more mortars. They have some special Knights of the Everlasting Light. They have war wagons, which also have mortars, so very mobile mortars. They have great swords, halberdiers, gunners, handgunners. They have an Empire Captain, and this Pyromancer, or this Bright Wizard who does fire magic. You can see he's very injured already thanks to Nasty Bubo's sharpshooters. But I think that's a pretty good layout of the land, so I'll just keep this going. The main thing to take into consideration with this battle is this here. They have this entire line of walls that they're defending, which are lined with these towers that can shoot us with explosives. So we need to get either on the wall or through the walls. So we're targeting those forts, those towers. We just destroyed them there, so hopefully we don't get too decimated by those before we get to the walls. The other thing is the mortars that are well defended by the walls. We can't really get into there yet. And the other thing is that they're unit by unit. Like if you pit a greatsword against a sword storm vermin, the greatsword's going to win every time. So we need to overwhelm them with this massive amount of Skaven that are coming in to have a little bit of fun. Let's go back to the battle. So we've destroyed 2 towers and broken through their gates, and now we're going to wreak some havoc on them using our magic. Woohoo! That there is Ikit Claw. He is able to use some pretty good spells of ruin. We have our 2 towers docking here, and we have the rest of our storm vermin just going up along the walls to put up some ladders and try to just overwhelm them with a great force. This here is a spell by our Eshin Sorcerer that can act as a vortex that sucks people in. If you get caught in it, you are screwed, but it looks like they're running away from it, as they should. And then we're also moving our Helpet Abominations in to try to break through this gunk of people here to get into their square. We're also moving in a hero of ours, a chieftain, who is riding on the back of a rat ogre. Heroes in this game are kind of like generals, except they're not. They're single entity units that have a lot of health and a lot of damage and have special abilities, kind of like these sorcerers are. Sorcerers are also like that, are also heroes. You can get a good freeze frame of our storm vermin getting bombarded by these mortars, but as you can see, a lot of them are already on the walls. So soon they will not be, or soon the Empire's going to be doing some heat. We also have our Nasty Bubo's sharpshooters keep firing, even though they're not doing a whole lot. Put this on slow-mo. Our Helpet Abominations are in the walls, having a grand old time, messing with these Empire soldiers, and completely destroying some of these guys. These are probably some of the best units that the Skaven have to offer, but again, the play of the game here is to try to overwhelm them with a lot of different units. So our Skaven on the walls have made the skirmishers freak out. They've brought in halberdiers to try to hold our guys on the walls. As you can see, we're already docking the walls from all over, so they're not going to be able to stop the Skaven tide much longer. We have storm vermin halberdiers that have already gotten down into here. They're firing at us with steam tanks, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue just because we have a lot of bodies to spare. Here's another spell of Ikit Claws on display, a brass orb that causes a lot of stationary vortex lightning damage. And we can see here, Tretch Craventail right there has come in and joined the party. Ikit Claw has gotten past the walls as well. And if I'm not mistaken, yep, Queek Headtaker is on the wall to join his storm vermin. Now it looks like those mortars are still trying to do what they can, which they did. They did quite a bit there, but again, we just have so many bodies, it doesn't really matter. So at this point, these guys in here are probably starting to get nervous. We have more rats stocking the walls here. We have a lot of havoc going on in this center square. We have Tretch Craventail buffing himself to get a little more morale. He's trying to help out here. He doesn't do much in terms of direct melee combat, but the buffs he provides as a general are pretty good, where he's worth leading an army. We have our Eshin Sorcerer trying to get on the walls himself so that he has a little better vantage points to provide his super cool spells. There is an Empire Captain who is another one of these heroes that is trying to hold off against our Storm Vermin. He's doing a pretty good job, but he's not going to last forever, especially with the much more Storm Vermin on the way. Our guys are kind of sitting back here nice and tight because they've done their job. Now it's our infantry's time. Oh, but it looks like Boris Todbringer was sick of just sitting in the square waiting for stuff to happen, so he's brought in himself and Widowmaker to try to free up the walls a little bit. So he's trying to help his Empire Captain here. You can see that we just all got a debuff out of fear because of Boris Todbringer and the Widowmaker. Now the thing is, Queek Headtaker, he's a duelist. He loves finding the most difficult opponent, the toughest opponent, and proving his worth by taking them out. So we're having him charge directly at Boris Todbringer. Even though he has the Widowmaker, I think he can do well. Unfortunately, Ikit Claw can't really join the battle up there because he's on his Doom Wheel. There's no way to get that up on the wall. We have our Plague Claw Catapult bombarding from the side. We have a massive amount of rats on here, on the wall, over there. And we have a bunch already in the city. Again. So we can see here. Where is he? Is Queek there? Queek? Oh, he's still moving. He's almost there. What's going on? Let's take a look. I don't think anything else of too much significance is happening. They have some pretty heavy cavalry over there. I think right now it's just combat to try to get through one of the lines somewhere to progress further into the city. So we can see that Queek is now in combat. Whoops. Let's go to Queek. Queek is now in combat with Boris Todbringer. And one-on-one, he might be able to do some damage, but with how quickly the Widowmaker does damage, it's not going to be smart to leave him alone for long. Okay, let's go back to the rest of the battle. This Bright Wizard is really hurting. We're bringing in Ikit Claw to help out finish up this gaggle of units here. You can see that Queek and Boris are in combat, but our Nasty Bluebird Sharpshooters coming in handy again to try to help out Queek from a distance and take out Boris Todbringer, which they're doing a pretty good job at chipping away that health. Our Storm Vermin are still stuck in combat in the center, but we've pretty much taken out all of the units here. These are our Abominations and our hero. Oh, and it looks like Boris Todbringer is really feeling some pain here. So Queek comes in for some more. Oops. To try to do more damage. in between him and the nasty Boris. Boris should be dead very soon. Oh, and Boris was finished off, which is fantastic. The Widowmaker is no longer on the field, and that's going to cause us a few morale debuff to the rest of the army. Ikit Claw is back there using more spells to take out some of those mortars and some of those Empire Knights. You can fast forward a little bit here to speed it along. We have some rats on the right flank now. Those aren't really doing too much, but they're holding other enemies steady while our big ticket rats are moving into the city. And here's a cool showcase. In the campaign, you have this ability called the Menace Below, where you can summon a group of rats from underneath the ground to kind of help out in the battle. This is great for taking out artillery pieces or freaking out skirmishers from behind the lines, but right now we don't need it too much. Our Help Abomination is coming in to help our surrounded Ikit Claw, but we have a whole lot more coming in to join them. The Vermintide, as you might say. Our nasty boobos are just kind of shooting our own guys, trying to get the rest of the men there, but that's fine. I think that's okay. Ikit Claw is just kind of stuck there while the Help Abominations try to up-wiggle him out. Again, the steam tanks are back there kind of messing things up. The steam tanks are a little annoying because they're high health, high damage, and they never rout. They never suffer enough morale debuff, or any morale debuffs for that matter, since they're a tank. So to get them off of the playing field, you need to straight up kill them. Ikit Claw was able to wiggle his way out and around and helped out in the flank here to try to finish off this line of Empire Knights so that we can move this massive amount of rats in. Ikit's using his last blast, his last brass orb, and the Help Abominations have wiggled their way through these Empire Knights. We have our Eshin Sorcerer back here. He's not really doing too much, so he's just kind of hanging out. We don't really need him. And it looks like the Reichsguard finally decided enough is enough, and they're trying to run for their lives. So if we take a look at the battlefield, these little blinking icons show that they are breaking, and the skull and flag show that they have completely routed, and they're running for their lives. At this point, only units left on the battlefield are these steam tanks, because again they don't suffer morale debuffs. So the only thing we can really do now is just wait for them to get finished off. Ikit Claw and some of the Help Abominations are taking on this steam tank, whereas just a massive horde of storm vermin are trying to take out that tank. Oh, and the Eshin Sorcerer is getting in for some melee, which isn't too bright, but the only spells he really has are meant for groups of enemies, not single enemies. There are other sorcerers that have spells that are good for single entity units, but the Eshin Sorcerer is better equipped for many enemies at once. So we can see Ikit Claw and the Help Abominations are just bullying this steam tank, taking his lunch money, and right about now he is finished off. That steam tank is done, so we're going to move the rest of our rats in to finish the job on this steam tank. Our Plague Claws are trying to hit the steam tank, but are just hitting more of our own rats in the building, so those are being pretty useless. And soon enough, that steam tank is done. Woohoo! I don't agree with that being a Pyrrhic victory. That means a victory where you and the enemy pretty much had the same damage, but as you can see here, they completely lost both of their armies, and I only lost a fraction of the three of my armies. Ikit Claw himself got 161 kills. Beautiful. Our Helped Abominations both got 119. So they did very good on that. So that was a siege battle where we took a city. I want to show you another thing that is pretty cool. I hope I saved it? Yeah. Skaven ambush at Frost Pass. So, like I said, Skaven on like unit against unit, Skaven are pretty bad when it's just attacking one another. So one of the things that they excel at is ambushes. They have very high ambush chance in a campaign map. So what you're going to see here is the enemy moving through this central line here, and our guys on the surrounding perimeter. So here's kind of the battle setup. We're lying in the snow, hiding in wait for this Empire army to move through the Frost Pass, with Volkmar the Grim at the helm. He is the most annoying guy. I hate him so much. He, like the steam tanks, never routes, so if you want him off the board, you gotta completely kill him. They have Karaborg swords, which are very good greatsword units. They have more great swords, and they also have a Hellstorm battery rocket back there, which is just missiles upon missiles and mortars in the back. So, but we have Plague Claw catapults. We have rattling guns. In this battle, you can see them in better view. And we also have our boy Tretch Craventail. Where on the other side we have more Storm Vermin, another unit of rattling guns, and our handy dandy Eshin Sorcerer. So if we play through, we can see them moving through, and then we are moving our units into attack. They're starting to freak out because they're getting attacked by Skaven in the back. They're getting shredded by these rattling guns. So these guys have a very nice sitting position up here where they can just fire openly on the Empire units in the back there. Or not really in the back, but in the middle. So if we get back out, you can see this unit of Empire Knights tried to come in and get behind our lines, but we did not let him. Our Storm Vermin were able to intercept, and our Eshin Sorcerer hit them with another one of these vortexes. We have completely surrounded the artillery in the back and destroyed them. We're moving up more Skaven in the back because we don't want them to be able to form a cohesive line. Again, there's some of that menace from below to help disrupt their unit formations. Our rattling guns are still just having open season on these guys in the middle there. Our Storm Vermin are trying to pursue to protect our rattling guns from these knights, and our Eshin Sorcerer has a good vantage point from up top. So we have completely decimated a couple of units in the middle with those rattling guns. Our Storm Vermin are holding them steady. We have a couple of slingers. They're okay. They're good for doing a little bit of extra damage here and there. All of the artillery in the back has been destroyed, so now we're moving our rats up more to keep all of these guys steady where they are, while our rattling guns just shred away. Volkmar the Grim is in the middle, having no idea what to do. Where's Tretch? I don't think Tretch has too much of a... Tretch doesn't do a whole lot in this battle, but he is there. He would be ill-placed in the middle of all of this chaos. So these war wagons are going to be destroyed by our rattling guns. Our Plague Claw catapults have just been doing a massive amount of damage this entire time. Some of our rats that were fleeing are now coming back to join the fray again. And our rattling guns over here, I think we're putting them in position to try to help out. Oh, so they're just finishing off this fleeing unit of Reichsguard so that they don't come back and win the battle. And now we're going to have them attack Volkmar the Grim because we hate this guy and we want him gone. Our Plague Claw doing more damage, our rattling guns. I love the rattling guns so much. When used correctly, they can just... they work wonders. I love them. And they're just fucking ridiculous. Giant anthropomorphic rats with essentially miniguns. It, it's nutty, but it's nutty in the best way possible. So we have our Ashen Sorcerer with his Vortex spell there again. It kind of sucked up some of our own rats, but we don't really care. Rats are a dime a dozen. More menaces from below. And Tretch is coming in to try to help out the Stone Vermin take out the rest of the Carolberg Greatswords. Only 15 of them left, as opposed to 102 Storm Vermin. So it's a pretty safe bet to finish them off. Our Ashen Sorcerer just kind of biding his time. And we're having our one Rattling Gun unit try to do something to Volkmar the Grim. He has an insane amount of health and an insane amount of armor. So pretty much the entire rest of the Empire army has fled, aside from Sigmar's Sons, which is another special unit of swordsmen, and Volkmar the Grim. So we're going to focus, well, these Rattling Guns want to take out the rest of them, and then we're going to focus all of our ranged units on Volkmar the Grim to just try to chip his health away. The battle is essentially won here, but it would just be nice to have the least amount of melee combat as possible. As you can see, our own Storm Vermin here are kind of getting shredded by our own Rattling Guns, but they were destroyed enough to the point anyways that it's okay, we can afford to lose this unit. Sigmar's Sons are coming in to try to help out, but it's hopeless. Our Rattling Guns and our Plague Claws took them out. That was a magic missile from our Ashen Sorcerer. And if you look here, Volkmar is almost dead. Sigmar's Sons just do not give up, so we have to really finish them off. We only have 12 units left, and soon enough Volkmar should be dead. There we go. His chariot was destroyed, and he is gone. I think that was a really nice battle to kind of show the efficacy of the Ratmen and their ability to use ambushes to their advantage to really take out units that are much stronger than them in a one-on-one scenario. Let's see if there's any other... I don't think there's any other real good ones. So yeah, that was the Skaven. Very cool.